Good morning, everyone. Good morning to our participants here at AVR and also our online participants. And I'd like to welcome you all to this step of the search process for the next Dean of the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies, the public forum for the presentation of the Incumbent Dean's Accomplishment Report. Okay? Before we proceed to the proper event for this activity, I'd like to introduce the members of the search committee for the search for the next Dean of FICS. Okay, yours truly is the chair, and we also have AVP Peter C., President's representative, maybe online. Then we also have Dr. Myra Uruga, the representative of the faculty. We also have Ms. Alvi Alip, Reps representative, Ms. Genoveva Mercado, our admin staff representative. Then we also have Ms. Bia Lu Harabe, the students representative, okay, for this search. Before I'm going to call Dean Maranan for his presentation, I'd like to announce first that there will be some changes in the schedule of activities for the search in view of the extension of the call for nomination. Okay, it was stipulated in the Chancellor's memo that in case the search committee would receive only one nominee, we would extend the call, and that somehow affected the schedule that we have for the succeeding activities for the search. So for the presentation of the nominees' vision and mission, instead of having that this coming January 27, that is being moved to February 4, the same time, okay? And for the sectoral consultation, that will be moved to February 5, instead of having it this coming January 28, okay? But the same time, okay? For the faculty, we would have it at 9 to 11, hybrid. The in-person will be at AVR. Then we would also have an online. For the reps, that would be at 11 to 12:30. For the admin people, admin and reps, then for the student, we would have that from 1 to 2:30. For the alumni and other sectors who would like to be consulted now for the search, that would be from 2:30 to 4. Then at 4 to 5:30, we're going to have the interview for the nominees for the search. Okay? So with that, I'd like to call on Dean Maranan to present the accomplishment of the Faculty of Study during his term. Okay? Dean?
Maraming salamat po, Director Bagarinaw. Magandang umaga po. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Chancellor, Chancellor Mel Bandalaria, Vice Chancellor Jean Saludades, and the officials, various officials of the university that are here and online. Dean Joanne Serrano of the FMDS is in the house. Director Ria Borromeo of the Office of Student Affairs, Director Myra Almatiel of the Office of Public Affairs. You are Luisa Helisan. I am sure I am missing someone. Sino pa ho ba ang andito in person? Si Dean Charez Reyes. And natawag ko na po si Ria. I would also like to acknowledge and thank the members of the search committee for the FICS Dean, as was introduced by Doc Baggy earlier. And most of all, I'd like to thank the FICS academic and administrative staff who are here today, who have put up with me for the past 3 years. And I am here today to present not only as nabanggit ni Dean Baggy, not only my accomplishments or what I would think are my accomplishments as the dean, but our accomplishments together collectively that we have achieved over the past 3 years. Before I start, I'd also like to extend my gratitude to my small task force of people who put together these slides, Jenny, Joy, Tin, Jerome, and Pao. Thank you very much. So, sila yung kailangan pong talagang palakpakan. So, medyo mabagal po ang pag-transmit ng data. We're having a bit of an internet connectivity issue here, so apologies if there's a lag between my talking and the slides displayed. So my presentation today will be divided into 5 parts. The first 4 parts are about our core functions at the university on administration, instruction, research and creative work, public service and extension. And then at the very end, I'm going to go back to what I had said I would do 3 years ago and see how well I had succeeded in the promises that I had made and whether they were the right promises to make in the first place. I've learned a lot over the past 3 years, and so it's interesting to go back to what I said I would prioritize back then. So we started with administration and staff development. I wanted to tell a story about, in numbers, about how the FICS has grown, has evolved over the years. So since 2021, we have significantly grown our academic and administrative staff. I think what's interesting to see is how there's been a huge growth in our academic staff, particularly our faculty. However, it remains a challenge to match that growth with our administrative staff. Because the growth of the academic staff implies a growth in other things, student numbers, program requirements, but these are beyond our control as an institution for the most part. However, the fact that there has been a significant growth sa academic staff natin, I think is notable. We can also see a similar change in the ratio of our faculty complement or academic ranks, well, the faculty in particular. So there has been a significant growth in our junior faculty, so assistant professor level. And there has been some growth as well doon sa more senior faculty, so associate professor and professor numbers. However, the ratio of junior to senior faculty has increased over the years. I'll talk about how whether this is a good thing or not. I think it's difficult to argue at this point. But I will talk about later on how we have been addressing faculty development specifically through doctoral training. One of the major internal projects that I have been spearheading, I've been calling privately Project Aspen. So meron po kami mga, or ako na internal project sa UPOU sa FICS, and they're codenamed after animals or plants. And Aspen, I chose Aspen as the codename for this particular project because there is a particular growth of aspen trees in the US. It's called Pando. It's this gigantic, thousands of hectares, I think it's thousands of hectares, na forest, but it's actually one single individual. It's a single aspen tree that has sprouted parang all over this gigantic forest, and so it is connected by this gigantic root system. And the idea is that this is the metaphor for this solution that I envisaged sa administrative side, which is that in the past, we are often asked to report on multiple things constantly, all the time. It would be either for CHED, or kaya sa Office of the Chancellor, or the UP system, or sa OVCAA, or some other government requirement. And in the end, I remember na we would keep on parang sending the same information over and over again to the point na it actually became a bit detrimental sa ating productivity. So one of the internal projects that I had led was to create a single source of truth system. Now the idea is, the vision, the dream was you enter your data only once, and then you would query and report as needed. And so implemented on software as a service, database as a service system called Airtable, the idea was that you would take all of you would input your accomplishments as an individual, and then it gets federated, and then you can report on it. So for example, using the system, you enter your data only once, and then you can report on that data para sa inyong faculty service reports. You could also use this data for our monthly reporting to the Office of the Chancellor. So the idea is parang we never have to input the data multiple times. Ang administrative staff na lang ang mag-query every single time. We can also use that for periodic review of the dean and the program chairs. So this is as a way to try to get yung management, yung middle leadership to be able to have a better bird's eye view of what's going on sa faculty administrative staff. And I think this is especially important as we project and anticipate growth in terms of our staffing. What's also interesting is that you can use the same information you pull from that database and then mag-update ang inyong individual website profiles here. So this, for example, is the website of Dr. Rob Figueroa, and itong mga selected publications niya, that's generated on the fly from the same database. So hindi na kailangan manually enter yung data niya. You can also report from the same database and use it in other places like your personal portfolios and websites, which, as most academics, should still have their own personal portfolios and websites. We call that system, well, I call that system something record of your accomplishments, aka aray. Ito yung mga aray nyo sa inyong trabaho. So it's a bit tongue-in-cheek. We've also used the same system to generate other kinds of reports. So nung nawala yung UIS, I used the same platform to generate a properly formatted COS, but at the same time, because we're able to collect the data the way UIS did digitally, it also means we can use the data for reporting, for analysis. So for QA requirements, we can check, for example, meron bang disconnect between the number of units that are assigned to people and the number of hours that they're actually working on their administrative, research, and creative work, public servers. So this is a way to monitor the effectivity of all sorts of operational activities. We've also implemented the FICS, the same system for generating the faculty clearance form. Now, why is this important? For one thing, using the same form, we generate the properly formatted clearance form, but then we can track in purpose of clearance. So why this is important? We can track student attrition, and then we can track interesting data like when students withdraw from UPOU, but it turns out that they're transferring to another UP system, another UPCU, then that's not exactly, in my view, attrition. Because from a one UP perspective, the students are still within the whole UP system. So it is an attrition of some sort, it's program attrition, but in terms of parang retention and in terms of understanding yung progress ng mga estudyante, this is something that we can use for longitudinal studies, for example, of program effectiveness. We also use the same system, and I can't show a screenshot here dahil nag-down po ang lahat ng edu.ph sites, but I wanted to show on the FICS website how whenever a student is approved for clearance, yung thesis title nila and they're linked to the online repository sa upload, it gets automatically fed sa FICS website. So on the FICS website, it is dynamically generated with the latest outputs of faculty, reps, and students. Also, so FICS website, again, I can't show it right now. We are displaying our contributions to the UN SDGs because, again, using the same system, we can tag yung alignment ng individual initiatives with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. In terms of staff development, um, um, since 2023, the UP system has been prioritizing the planning for extensive PhD faculty development, for example, in their API calls. So we've taken this to heart. So starting at 2025, we have identified 4 faculty that will be hopefully going on full study leave. Sila Assistant Professors Marie Crisanto, Luisa Helisan, Cecil Moldes, and Joyce Vega. And they will be starting their candidacy at UPOU and at the University of Technology, Sydney. The UTS training is through a special engagement collaboration that Dean Cha and I have been organizing called the UTS UP Open Doctoral Collaboration, where our faculty who, for reasons that matter to them, would rather stay in country and do their PhDs remotely. We all know the benefits, but also the challenges of remote PhD training. So we've devised an interesting system in order to create a local community of academic practice and social support sa kanila, which includes creating special doctoral learning hubs, hopefully here, at UPOU as a headquarters, and in Diliman in partnership with the UP Intelligence Systems Center. And so you can see, well, you can't really because the font is too small, but it illustrates the 10 different doctoral fellows from all across the UP system, actually. So not just UPOU, but UPLB, UP Diliman, Tacloban, and Mindanao. So UPOU is spearheading this initiative. There's not enough time to talk about this, but I think this is a very interesting program. In terms of our administrative staff development, we've also continued to organize the FICS meetups, which are periodic knowledge sharing meetings to share best practices, to teach new skills. These have included driving skills for beginners, just basics for mental health, but also things like digital literacy training, basic records management, and other health-related topics. In terms of teaching and instruction, kung meron ako pong ma-miss, FICS faculty, please do let me know. In terms of teaching and instruction, I think one of the highlights from the past 3 years is the fact that 3 FICS programs have undergone external quality assurance assessment. Type A, Type B, and Type C assessments. In that order, I think sila nangyari. And then I think sabay yung DCS and MIS. So as we all know, this is an EQA system grounded on the AUN QA framework. I am very proud to say I think to this day, this is still the only 3 programs that have undergone external quality assessment, starting with BAMS, and then 3 months later, DCS and MIS. So I actually wanted to show you results nung EQA na yon, because I think it is worth reflecting as a community on what the results are. BAMS, the overall for BAMS is 4 out of 7, which is still a passing grade. So I think we were strongest in terms of our teaching and learning approach, facilities and infrastructure, everything else actually except output and outcomes. We can see similar trends across the other programs. So we have strong academic staff, so DCS, stronger relative to the other criteria. But again, with output and outcomes and yung formation expect learn outcomes, there's some work that needs to be done. Same thing with MIS. So the idea, I think, grounded on this assessment and other evidence that we've accumulated through the process of writing the self-assessment report, these 3 programs are already preparing their post-EQA strategy. We also have introduced 2 new programs, an Associate of Science in Information Technology and Associate of Arts in Digital Design and Art. This was very early in my terms in 2023. And we have proposed a new program, a new Masters of Data Science program. We also have, and I think there are separate slides for these two. We are. Maybe I should say something a little bit the two associate programs. I think these two associate programs are meant to be ladderized. They're meant to ladderize to our undergraduate programs, a BAMS program, and then BAMS is meant to create an exit strategy to either of these two programs. I have also been, the FICS has been coordinating with our colleagues, FMDS and Faculty of Education, SAFED, to see to what extent BAMS can integrate more closely with the associate programs that they've been offering, including borrowing of electives. In terms of the new proposed program, the Master of Data Science program with a focus on sustainability, this is also going to be a ladderized program that has an exit to a graduate certificate in data science. I wanted to acknowledge the main proponents for this program, si Dr. Borromeo, and I think si Dr. Rain Pugoy as well. We are also in the process of majorly revising the Doctor of Communication program, transforming it into a PhD program in Information and Communication Studies. This has already been submitted to the UP system, to be submitted to the OVPAA next week. But this has gone through multiple layers of review. This will result in major curricular, very exciting, I think, curricular changes to our DCOM program. Let's see. This year as well, with the support of the BAMS program chair, Dr. Emily Amalosa, and Assistant Professor Meg Harbin Suarez, and Myra is mouthing something in the back. Dr. Rob Figueroa, who has been brokering some of these relationships. We've been engaging with the UP System Oil, to send student, to get students to participate in international student exchanges via the MOVE Up program. So 2 students were assigned to Japan, one at Sophia University for 6 months from March to August 2024, and the other at the University of Tsukuba for 5 months earlier this year as well. 2 students were placed also at Hanam University and the other at Seoul National University. Teka lang, pero pong delay. Yeah. Student enrollment for all FICS programs. There has been, it's interesting to see yung growth in particular programs for student enrollment, notably sa BAMS. Yeah, so we can see Chancellor is motioning yung horizontal shape ng ibang programs. I don't think this is necessarily a reflection of strengths or shortcomings in terms of how we manage the programs, but I think it's pointing to a changing demographic profile na ating mga students, well, at least sa BAMS. This is another view of the same data. These are the admission numbers naman, and these all up to 100%. So if you take a look in 2022, most of our students at FICS were graduate students, and then over time that has changed, and now we have many more undergraduate students compared to our grad students. This is the same data, but this time presented in absolute numbers. Admissions are rising except for ASIT. Quickest rise is DCS and BAMS, followed by MIS and DCS. And then Incumbent MDC has maintained a relatively stable admission rates. Graduation figures, I think this would have been better presented in the same parang stacked bar chart, bar graph. But I think what we can deduce from this, I think I have notes for this. Let me check what the notes are for this slide. Okay. Okay. BAMS demonstrated significant growth in terms of graduation. In contrast, MIS has showed a decline since 2022. I'm not sure exactly what this means. MDC has steadily increased over the years. TCOM and DCS have remained stable with moderate improvements. Ito attrition rates na to, I'm not sure how accurate we've put this together. Attrition is very difficult at UPOU, I think, to compute. But I think this is based on a particular data set provided by the OUR, maybe. I think I will skip this slide for now. Yeah. So we are in the process of implementing that multiple exit ladderization option. I think in order to actually make this happen more effectively, there has to be a curricular change to BAMS in order to make yung full program work better. Okay, and I guess that's it. Research and creative work. In our last strategic planning session, we were able to come up, actually over the last 2 strategic planning sessions of FICS, we came up with a range of topics of FICS research and creative priorities that are organized by disciplinal clusters which themselves are organized or affiliated with our academic programs. One of the comments ng mga external evaluators was they were wondering what is the alignment of our research and creative work with our academic programs. So the idea of integrating more closely our instruction and teaching, our creative and research work, and our public and service extension, I think that was articulated this year, especially with the help of my colleagues from the other faculties of study during our FICS faculty strategic planning session, but also doon sa UPOU faculty conference. And so because of that, sorry, next slide. Yeah, so because of that, we were able to identify and to link how our public service initiatives can have or ought to be related to our instruction, to our research, and vice versa. So I think it's worth reading out loud some of these research and creative priorities. So we have AI-based pedagogies in ODL, applied spatial computing, crowdsourcing and human computing, cybersecurity, data science for development, explainable artificial intelligence, immersive open pedagogies, learning and academic analytics in ODL, and learning and management systems instructional technologies. So clearly there's some overlaps with the Faculty of Education and the Faculty of Management Development Studies. So there's, I think these are opportunities for collaboration. We also have user experience and user interface research, Internet of Things, art and digital humanities, art, science and STEAM, new media art, multimedia publishing, multimedia enhanced teaching and learning, intercultural communication, development communication theory, digital communities, educational communication, organizational communication, critical digital literacy, knowledge management, and MOOCs research. Sorry, okay. Another recent development at the FICS is the beginning of the development of FICS research groups and creative studios in anticipation of the rollout of the UP Systems collective mentorship program. So currently there are 5 in development that I'm aware of. We had a write shop to begin yung sulat ng proposals for this para pag na-approve na yung pag nag-roll out yung program handa na tayo. So we have one led by Rob, Immersive Spatial Technologies and Realities Lab, ISTAR Labs, the Decentered Human Communication Exploratory Lab, led by Dr. Jean Saradades, Cascade, which is the cross-disciplinary AI Systems, Cybernetics, and Data Engineering Lab, led by Dr. Rain Pugoy, Somatic Futures Lab, that would be led by me, the Beanie Lab, which is to be led by Assistant Professor Alice Sarmiento. There's another one here, yung kay Ruth, which is the Art and Innovation platform. So apologies, I didn't put that there. And I think that that one builds on the fact na si Dr. Ruth Rodriguez is a University Innovation Fellow, which is a program by the UP System, TTPTO, to bridge research and creative work with well, exploitable outcomes. Exploitable in the business sense of the word. It's a terrible world, but it is that is the word that is often used. But yes, but it's linking research with innovation. Also, in anticipation of the rollout of the collective mentorship program, we have started to formulate a policy on authorship. And this is also linked to the idea now that students, and I'll talk about how the original goal was to work with students and to regard them as co-creators, as co-authors, as and so these things can be very tricky. Co-authorship with students, with external partners, even internally, can be a tricky thing. So we're now developing a policy for authorship, which is also linked to our UP system policies for IP. Finally, we have started the creation of an FICS level research ethics committee, taking inspiration from the fact na tapos na po ang Fed, no? Meron na kayong faculty level research ethics committee. So that is already in the works. That's being led by Assistant Professor Al Librero. In terms of specific projects, if organized along those disciplinal clusters and academic programs, we have a number of projects, and you can see images that represent some of these projects. I won't go through all of them. I'll just read a couple. So we have the digital development and distribution of the Sora graphic novel, a creative retelling of Filipino history and culture. That I think that is led by Dr. Gigi Alfonso and Dr. Mel Bandalaria. Yung Sora. Si Ma'am Gigi talaga ang Sora. But a number of senior faculty are involved in the project, but a number of si Ma'am Jean, si Ma'am Mel, but si Ma'am Gigi is leading this project. Si Sir Sandy rin is part of this, okay. Sir Prime, we have the Biosignals project, which was exploring biosignals as from plants as an artistic and scientific medium. So that was with Dr. Shari San Pablo, Assistant Professor Blanca Flor Arada, myself, and our research staff, si Jerome Suplemento. In terms of our CompSci IT information systems projects, we have a number. We have explainable AI for open distance learning, machine learning for breast cancer detection, crowdsourcing for screening systematic reviews of space radiation. I think that was with RIA. IoT powered permaculture design for climate change mitigation. That's a collaboration with FMDS. Media and culture studies, MOOCs and digital learning, which actually doesn't really fall under media and culture studies. I think it shares some aspects of that. Digital exploring social dynamics on academic Discord servers. Yeah, I think a lot of this is actually educational research, yung intersection ng ODEL and IT. Multimedia enhanced publishing for collaborative learning. I think a lot of these projects, they fall under parang these intersections as we illustrated earlier. And then a number of communication specific projects on DEFCOM and communication theory. We have been told now this year alone, there were, tama po ba, Ma'am Jean, 9 accepted articles from DCOM alumni that were accepted to a particular conference, the International Communication Association Conference, which is the platform for discussing communication theory. That is a major accomplishment in terms of working with our students to co-create and advance the frontiers of knowledge. And then there are many more. I think we will put this out in our final report, which we do hope to publish. In terms of public service and extension, although our administrative positions are technically under administration, I think from a certain vantage point, the fact that a large number of our faculty serve major administrative positions is a form of public service to the university. So that has significantly grown since 2021. Of course, a number of faculty have also grown, but I think this is a nice illustration of yung serbisyo po namin sa internal community. One of our major public service extension agreements is ISEC, which is the International Symposium on Education, AI, and Cybersecurity. It was cybersecurity this year, but then 2 years ago, I think the C stood for something, convergence. That's right. And this is part of the tri-conference hosted by our institution as part of the, alongside ICODEL and ISAS. So ISEC had and has two components, the academic research component and then a hackathon. I think this year the hackathon is particularly popular. How many applications did we get for ISEC? For the applications, 40 teams had applied to join the ISEC hackathon, 4-0. And then how many did we end up choosing? 10, 11. So it's becoming competitive. Magbubuhat lang po ng buko. I wanted to acknowledge that ISEC 2025 is done in collaboration with the support of the UP Intelligence System Center. We're also excited to offer 2 MOOCs this year. They were in development last year, but they will be offered this year. So si Rain and si Blanca will be facilitating these 2 MOOCs. We've also been taking to heart our mission to develop open educational resources and to contribute to UPOU initiatives such as yung Fast Learn episodes, open talks, participating in open talks. This year we had a major in-person public service project, empowering Comelec personnel for responsive and quality delivery of services. And so this was spearheaded by si Sol Valera, who is based in Iloilo, in close collaboration and co-leadership with Dr. M. Samolosa. We also collaborated with the OVCFA for the UPOU blood donation drive, which is becoming a bit of a tradition at our institution. I think there was a record number of 83 blood bags in 2024. I think the highest it's been in a while, if not forever. FICS conducted 4 masterclass webinars on research writing, on ethics, research ethics, pluridisciplinary collaboration for sustainable development, and a methods course. I suppose this on memoir writing. We had 2. That was in 2022 alone. In 2023 and 2024, we conducted 3 other masterclass events, including one on cartooning and AI as a research assistant partner, and in knowledge management for development. Our faculty have also been actively involved in serving the larger academic community, serving as resource speakers, as conference reviewers, as panelists, as publication editors, as facilitators. These, you can see the numbers here. Even more contributions. We have contributed. I mean, this actually belongs more. So contributions, peer reviewers, members of review committees, members of a CHED technical working group. That's Dr. Benny Agapito, who's a member of the CHED technical working group for multimedia arts. and a number of public engagement and advocacy initiatives, including organizing awareness campaigns, or volunteering in cybersecurity initiatives, participation in other local and international events. Sorry, ang dami po talaga. So, have been okay. So in the time that I have left, how many minutes have we been talking? Okay, matagal-tagal na rin pala. Sorry. So I want to take a moment to review what I had said I would do 3 years ago. In February 2022, I said that I would attempt to work with the FICS in order to create bottom-up and participatory design, reimagining hierarchy, to systematically leverage students and alumni as assets. Leverage is such a terrible word though, parang nanggagamit, but really that's about creating mutual benefit so that we benefit from our students and alumni as much as they benefit from us. Broadening temporal and disciplinary horizon. So that means, I think that what I meant by that was to be able to work across our disciplinary boundaries, but also to have more of futures thinking, foresight related approach sa ating pagpaplano ng mga bagay. Enhancing creative capacities, design thinking, intellectual risk-taking, I said, and futures literacy as core competencies. So what did I mean by that? These are the exact slides that I showed 3 years ago. So, I have been organizing regular one-on-one meetings for personal and professional development. So, what I started to implement 3 years ago was before the start of the renewal cycle, I would have a one-on-one with every single one of the staff to review kung sila ay administrative staff. We would go through their IPCR. If contractual faculty, then we would look at their portfolio because they have to apply for a portfolio every year. And for the tenured faculty, we would look, I think, more broadly in terms of their professional development, especially in terms of research and teaching. So so that was done. This year, I've not been as good. I think medyo natabunan lang. But I think since mag-exit interview ako, since mag-exit ako in 2 months' time, I think it would be nice to have a one-on-one with everyone in the same way as part of the process of putting together the final report. I think yung Project Aspen that I showed earlier, I think that was my contribution to trying to optimize decision-making and to making reporting workflows easier. I suppose the best judge for whether I was successful ay yung administrative staff. So, yeah. I think it's worth asking. In terms of your reporting requirements, but of course, yeah. In terms of nagawa ko ba yung parang yung single source of truth approach na you have to report less often? I think it's worth asking the administrative and the academic staff. I'm not sure how well I really prioritize work-life balance. I think this is outside of our control for the most part. But what I did try to do was to not expect anyone to work after 5 p.m. Pag may sumagot sa akin after 5 p.m., kanila na yun. And I am incredibly thankful. And I'm always apologetic if someone, if I contact anyone after a certain time. Even though ako rin naman, nagtatrabaho till ungodly hours. Teaching. So I said I would try to prioritize internship and real-world experiences as part of educational training. Sa BAMS, we've had one successfully completed internship that was supervised by si Assistant Professor Luisa Elisan. And I think that's a potential model for using say MMS 200, but maybe even creating a new course on internships, on an internship OJT as a way to bridge yung gap between academic training and real-world requirements. We also attempted with in collaboration with FMDS with Dean Joan Serrano din, an MOU with Concentrics in this case. That still has to be realized, but I think that still sets the foundation for a potential internship. We tried doing something that didn't quite pan out this year. Improving student support and learning experiences. Unfortunately, I've not been able to monitor how well our students support, but if there have been improvements since 2022 in terms of our student support. I think that's something after this presentation, we can have a discussion with the program chairs. I can have a discussion with the program chairs and program support staff. Redesigning how we do strategic reviews of formal and non-formal program offerings. So in terms of strategic planning sa FICS, I'd like to think that over the past 3 years, naging mas klaro how we should do our strategic planning. And especially, I think that framework of the intersection between instruction, research, and public service, I think that's a better way to organize yung review ng ating mga activities, given na talagang dapat interconnected lahat sila. I think in 2022 wala pa yung AU and QA. So in some ways, this was taken care for us by the creation of the Quality Assurance Office and by the establishment of all of these quality assurance methodologies and frameworks. In hindsight, we've always been curating partnerships with local international organizations. I think there was nothing that parang can really be improved about that, other than maybe parang getting them, integrating them more closely with the aspects of our work. For example, can we have the partners that we work with serve as resource speakers for our courses? It's interesting that I had talked about the anticipation of the emergence of student organizations. So in the past, for many reasons, pero I guess what I can say at this point and in public is in the past couple of months, I have been reaching out to the FICS chapter of the Alumni Association, of the UPOU Alumni Association, to see whether we can have a regular meeting so that the alumni can have a closer relationship with us in terms of seeing how we can work with them to improve, to strengthen our community. I think interestingly, ito rin lumabas doon sa AU and QA, and I think maybe even the AAOU external assessments was looking at how we can better work with our alumni to strengthen the community. So in terms of deepening our monodisciplinary and pluridisciplinary research, because I am of the opinion that to have strong pluridisciplinary expertise, we need to have a deep grounding in single disciplines as well. To a certain extent, this has been taken care of by the collective mentorship program. But also, I think in sa mga one-on-ones that I've been doing, when faculty ask for it, when it is useful, to guide them into parang developing the research portfolio and looking at parang how they position themselves as researchers. I think one of the things that needs constant reminding para sa ating lahat is that we are public intellectuals, all professors. And that, parang it would be good that when you think of, for example, si Ria, when you think of Ria Borromeo, parang a set of keywords pop into your mind wherever you are in the academic community. In her case, this would be human computing, crowdsourcing, and data cleaning, data engineering. Sorry, si Ria was in my line of sight, so I used her as an example. I think we're making progress in terms of alignment of student research with faculty research, again, in part because of the collective mentorship program. There was an attempt, looking back at my files, we've been trying to set up those research labs since I think, actually, if you look, noon pa, I saw this discussion from 2011, 2009, about research labs pa. So the fact that that we've been talking for a long time and finally nag-trickle down of the UP system says, okay, we are in some respects ahead of the curve sometimes sa UP system. And I think when I talk about helping FICS and UPOU community gain research visibility, I think part of that was remnants po yan nung time ko developing or leading the development of the UPOU repository upload. But then also that particular small thing of harvesting yung yung titles of student and faculty and reps research, and then displaying its FICS website. I think that's part of this. I am running out of steam and I'm running out of time. So maraming salamat po. Kung meron po ako na miss, faculty and staff and reps, please let me know.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dean. And congratulations, no, to those achievements that you had together with the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies. No? And indeed, with those achievements, masabi natin na the faculty is, kasi ikaw pa rin, ano, is on the right hand, no, with you as their dean. Okay? So again, can we give Dean Jigo and the Faculty of Information another round of applause? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so maybe we can ask Dean Jigo to sit down. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Those who would like to ask questions, here at the EVR, you can raise your hand so that you would be acknowledged. And also online, you can raise your virtual hand, no, so that you would be acknowledged. Anyone who would like to ask? Yes, VC Jean.
Hello, congratulations, Dean Diego, for the accomplishment, very notable accomplishments. You mentioned that you may have forgotten something. Maybe you must have included the upload. That is a very important initiative of yours, where that the university has become that has been very helpful for the university.
Hello, yeah. Thank you, Doc Jane. Technically, it falls outside of my term, and I did this as a PDA to the OVCAA. So it's not, pero it's as a personal contribution to the university. I think that is. Pinaka-excited po ako nung nakita ko na people are beginning to cite our students' research and using the repositories, the URL. So now if you go to Google Scholar, anything that's an upload is findable on Google Scholar. So
yeah, okay lang.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see the artist in you, in what you have done as the Dean of FICS. The project Aspen is, I think, a very good way to capture what you have done for the administration. Here at the CDMO in Pahinungod, we only have the project Aspin. It's just a joke. My question. If you were to give advice, this is like a Miss Universe question. If you were to give advice to the next Dean, because we all know that you are no longer running for the second term, which maybe you have to explain later. But what would be the lessons of a faculty administrator, as a faculty administrator in the last the last 3 years? What would that be, and what do you want the next Dean to continue that you have started? Thank you.
thank you. Mabuhay. So maybe I should address that question, why I am not running for a second term. I have an existing conflicting appointment, well, not conflicting, I have an existing appointment with the UP system as the Deputy Director of Research for the UP Intelligence System. So that center encourages and develops research across the UP system on AI, data science, and complexity science for social economic development. So that is a very big task. Ang ALC ko po ngayon ay 18 units. Administrative load pa lang yun. So, and I don't think that's something to be proud of. Kasi that means that in theory, I should be spending 30 hours a day on administration alone, 30 hours a week on administration alone. So that's not workable. So I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not running for a second term. What would I tell my successor? nung una akong pumasok dito, ang sinasabi sa akin, you parang direct this, parang this is your vision, you take this whatever, in the direction that you want to. And in my first year and a half, parang, no, let me build on what was done before and to do it, which I did. And then at one point, as you begin to see the institution more fully, yung mga detalye niya, yung mga nuances niya, the intricate web of relationships and connections, you begin to realize na actually, no, I do have a vision and I do have a statement on how certain things are done. And sometimes you have to rebuild some of the things that were built before you. So don't be afraid to take the bull by the horns to lead the FICS, the faculty, in a direction that you want. So having a vision really does matter. That said, medyo delikado din if you're always thinking out of the box. As someone I think had this conversation with Doc Jean. I read somewhere someone opining na these days I think he's some kind of innovation manager, strategy, etc. Futurist. He no longer is interested in thinking outside the box. He's more interested in thinking on the edges of the box, on the forgotten face of the box, on that corner of the box that doesn't get attention. So I think that's what creative administration and leadership is like. It's looking at the sides, the corners, the forgotten faces of boxes. Because once you do that, then you can think outside the box, link it to other boxes. This box metaphor is becoming unwieldy, so I'll stop at that. Isa pang advice to the next dean. Spend time with people, with administrative staff in particular, and just parang going around the university. Sometimes things that can take parang hours and hours to solve when you're doing it remotely, it will take 5 minutes. Tapos na. Ayun. So enjoy the headquarters. At the same time, I would like to ask the next dean to think about our Diliman colleagues as well. They need, I think, they need offices that are commensurate with and synonymous with the offices that we have dito. Synonymous, not synonymous, pero yeah, commensurate with the kinds of offices that we have here sa Diliman. But that's really just a bit of an aside. Yeah, I don't know. I am sure I'll think of something else.
Okay, thank you, Dean. Other questions? From the online audience?
Siguro,
Okay, yeah.
One last. I have probably developed habits as the dean, and some of these habits are bad habits. And so the next dean must be ready to undo the bad habits that I have parang formed and may have encouraged in the faculty themselves. So yun, I will submit to the will of the next dean, kung sino man yun.
Okay.
Ano pa?
Any other questions?
Sa likod, si Dr. Myra Almadiel.
Hi, Dean Chego. We would like to thank you. I would like to personally thank you for taking care of all the FICS staff, and you've done a good job taking care of us for these 3 years. So, siguro yung question ko is in connection with Ma'am Jean's question then. So, what do you think will be the characteristics of the next FICS Dean, and what do you think will be the just suggestion on the focus of our priorities that we will be doing for the next 3 years or so? Thank you.
Hindi ko alam kung, I'm only saying this because this is the first thing that comes to mind, pero scale. So, again, nag-viral ang UPOU at ang mga MOOCs. We've seen the rising, the increase of in the mga students natin. Scaling up, which I think we're hesitant to do because we are so strapped for personnel resources. This is going to be a major challenge. I think AI AI needs to be, I think, at the very heart, but it has to be the forefront of everything. AI is it's going to change things more than we realize, but it's not going to destroy humanity, I think, in any time in the next, at least in the next term of the dean, term of the next dean. So I think there's a role that data science and AI and complexity science, my own parano, has in terms of how do we scale up properly. I think there are some UP system strategic thrusts that are worth considering more, like yung we already did this, right? Yung SUC collaboration. So during the pandemic, we did provide training in ODEL to all of these SUCs. But beyond that, in terms of national development, hindi pwede ang expertise, ang talent is concentrated in only a few SUCs, national places, like say UP. And in fact, I think SUCs are surpassing UP, some SUCs are surpassing UP in some fields. And I think we need to engage with them really strategically and systematically, because we probably have as much to learn from them as they have to learn from us. Hindi ko alam kung FICS specific lang to, but I think that's an interesting challenge to take on. Now, what is our role in national development? That's something I never used to say as much. Yung role natin sa national development, but yes.
Okay, thank you, Dean. Any other questions from our online participants?
Yes, Ria.
Yes, Doc Ria.
Doc Ria. I think someone also has raised their hand, so maybe after Ria.
What are your plans for the last 67 days?
The first thing that comes to mind is to continue to finalize this report and to have a really nice, thorough retrospective of parang what went right, what could have been improved, and maybe a set of recommendations for whoever the next dean is. There is still the establishment of the collaborative mga research groups that needs to be done. I'd like to see the DCOM revisions and the Master Data Science program shepherded as much as I can. I mean, our timelines are kind of hindi dependent yan on external factors. I think ano pa? Mag-party. Actually, I think it would be nice to have some kind of closing kind of mga pala, sorry, si Chance here is commenting on the fact that my birthday is a week before my last day as the dean. And I think nag-request na ako kay Jenny ng from April 1 to April 5 re-energizing leave. Hindi ko alam kung eligible ba ako. Baka hindi na ako eligible, pero whatever the case, I think I need mga 1 week to decompress after. But that's not your question. Your question is what will I do before then? It's a really good question. Pag-iisipan ko pa. Right now, actually, we have a series of we still have a series of benchmarking trips for the UPISC. I am very excited with the work that we are doing sa Intelligence Systems Center. And I'm happy that it can also contribute sa ginagawa natin sa UPOU. So I'll be also concentrating a lot on that. Maybe the program chairs and the faculty and reps and administrators staff, tell me what you need in the last 67 days, whether there are some urgent concerns that you need me to address. So yon.
Okay, thank you, Dean.
My anonymous participant, okay. What new projects are you looking forward to engaging in after your deanship? That's Rob. And then, yeah, I think that's it. May anonymous?
May ano daw?
Regrets. Wow. And if you could give to 2022. Ano to pa? Miss Universe / E-Entertainment Online weekly. Sige, sagutin ko muna yung kay yung kay Rob. New projects. Actually, that's also part of yung question area. I really want to support yung transition from the research, the research platform that I established in Bukas Lab to ISTAR Lab, which is what C. Rob is heading in, but a bunch of us are part of. I'm really looking forward to doing more creative and work and research again. Mga new plans. Yeah, and then working sa UPISC. So I think the answer to that. Regrets. I think I had to play bad cop more often than I realized in the last 3 years. That's also my advice to the next dean. There are times when you will be called upon to play bad cop and you have to make the decision, parang, will you piss people off? In order to create better outcomes for everybody, are you willing to do that? I don't know. Hindi ko alam kung may regret ba ako. I think there's some things I could have handled more diplomatically. I think parang there are things that I tried to handle them diplomatically as I could. But yun, working with people is a difficult thing. There's a limit to what ChatGPT can do. That said, I have actually found ChatGPT to be very useful for handling difficult relations, which is interesting. May mga nods. For those of you who aren't here, there are nods of appreciation in the room. Yeah.
Okay.
May isa pa pong question.
Hindi makita dito eh.
Okay. Ang dami ko ng puting buhok sa balbas ko. Yun ang napapansin ko. Pero weirdly enough, wala pa akong puting buhok sa ulo. So I don't know what that... Okay.
Okay. This is from Rhoda. What were the challenges that you faced and hurdled? What were your lessons learned? Do you intend to continue your projects even if you're no longer the dean? Congrats and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Rhoda. By projects, I'm assuming you mean projects that are related to the FICS and managing the FICS. Yung Arai system, the whole project Aspen framework, first of all, what I wanted to say is that I think of that as a prototype. If ICTADO, for example, would like to actually develop an in-house platform that is similar to what I tried to do with the Airtable-based system, I think that would be a great thing. Hindi po ako tali dito sa platform. I mean, if the next team decides that they want to move away from this way of doing things, that's fine. But this idea of reporting once and of entering data once and then reporting multiple times from that data, I think that is something I would like to assist with championing. And really, this is part of DX, right? So I'm happy to help with that. Other than that, meron ba akong gustong challenges? It's taken a toll on my health, but it's not just being the dean. It's having 18 units administrative load credits. See, Chansey is here saying, I told you so. But I mean, I did take that on. I did know that this is going to be a risk. Now my body understands the risk. So I think I'm going to take some time to recover from that. So I think yung work-life balance talaga is incredibly difficult. I think balancing mga opposing forces. So opposing force might be the external pressures from the EP system, from CHED, from the government, and then internal pressures here as an institution. It could be parang views of more senior faculty versus views of more junior faculty. It could be the views of So yung mga ganong and playing the middle person. That's difficult. That's why I see Dean Baggy, Sir Baggy nodding vociferously here. I think all the deans can empathize here. Regrets. Actually, I don't have that many regrets. I think I'm happy about that. Ano pa ba? Yung tanong, challenges? Lessons learned. Do you intend to continue projects with ayun, I think, sabi ni Doc Oruga, agree, work-life balance is important. Something that I also want to help with is anything around parang health and wellness at the university. So, for example, the standing desks are a good step in that direction. I'd love to parang volunteer to help other aspects of our work environment be better for our health and well-being, in terms of getting more rest, in terms of getting more movement, exercise. So, okay. So, so i-divulge ko na ba to? Sige. I would love to explore, for example, as a research platform, ano mangyayari kung yung workstation sa atin mas comfortable, including pwede ka bang nakahiga habang nagtatrabaho. So having reclining mga chairs to do that. So kung may kilala ko yung engineers, industrial designers who can work on that, that would be interesting. Tumataas na chair. Ako meron akong personally bought na treadmill sa desk. So standing desk with treadmills. But really, it's work-life balance. Actually, getting the work-life balance correct is fundamental.
Baka yung chair na may tali. Kasi pag may naisip ka, babangon ka.
Yeah, pag naisip ka, dapat meron kang whiteboard sa tabi lang para pwede mong
isulat na lang siya.
Oo, yun din. Takabi na kay... and I think generally, apropos to that, parang how do we become more excited about research and creative work? And how do we have more conversations about this? Meron akong ginawang Google Chat. Maliit na innovation lang yon dun sa Google Chat net. Parang inspiration, provocation chat na parang ang directions doon, walang admin talk. Walang teaching talk. This is puro lang parang things that gets excited, articles that you've read, conferences that are upcoming. So continuing in that direction of creating spaces for us to become excited in terms of research and creative work. That would be, I would contribute to that. Meron pang isa dito. At the end of the day, peace of mind may be an indicator. May ganun bang opportunity as a dean? At tinatanong ni Fina, is it possible to have peace of mind as a dean? Tinitanong ko yung mga...
From Fina. Doc Fina.
I think ang pinakamahirap na part of being any leader sa UP, so not just I think a dean, is that there are two roles that we play as academics and as government government workers, civil servants, sorry, that's the word I'm looking for, as public servants. Kasi there are conventions in academia na may not necessarily be entirely consistent with yung mga roles natin as civil servants, as bureaucrats. That is a tricky challenge. Meron pa ba?
Yeah, I think yun na yung last. Yes, Dean Joanne.
Si Doc Joanne Serrano.
Hindi po to question but comment. Kasi wala na nag-question eh. I just want to say, Dean Diego, you made my 3 years as Dean happy. Kasi nagkaroon kami ng marami kaming mga sessions na nagkwekwentuhan lang. Hindi namin pinagchichismisan but parang gano'n na rin. But we're able to parang batuhan ng mga ideas about many things, anything under the sun. So parang pinagaan nun yung buhay ng kapwa mo din. So yun lang po ang gusto ko i-comment.
Likewise,
thank you very much.
Kay Dean Jo and Dean Cha. That was, I would not be here if it were not for you two as well. So, siguro, salamat talaga sa lahat ng FICS, administrative and academic staff, faculty reps, office staff, COS. It has been a privilege and a pleasure to serve. So,
Thank you very much, Dean. Okay. Any other questions? From the FICS people.
Malapit
Wala
na
na.
akong matapos. sabi ni Shaka, no isang araw, nakita niya ako, Diego, parang pinkish na yung glow mo. Parang there's a lightness to your aura. So, ayun.
Ganun talaga ang pakiramdam. Okay. Any other from our online participants? FB?
Meron bang FB
Yeah.
stream?
Miss Alvi? Meron ba sa FB? Okay. Siguro, I can ask, maybe this is the last question. Pang Miss Universe din. I'm just curious, given those different challenges that you have, you experience as a dean, okay? Ano yung mga measures na tinitake mo to lighten up your day or to face yung mga challenges?
Personal strategies.
Yeah, kasi baka that could also help the next dean actually, on how he's or she's going to face those challenges. Ay, naka-live stream tayo. Off the record.
Yeah. Actually, this points to another thing. Being a leader is a performance. And this is, I think, what's most interesting, exciting, but tiring about this is you're performing a role.
Yeah.
So nakakatawa yun when people meet you years after, hindi ka na Decano, but they call you Dean Diego. It's like when you played the theater role years ago as Juliet or Romeo, and they're still calling you Romeo and Juliet. But that was a role that I took on many years ago, but I'm no longer that person. But anyway, I'm trying to do more breathing. Trying to do more exercise. I downloaded an app this morning, last week, called Breathwork, and just parang paying attention to your breath for 5 minutes a day. Parang it helps you calm down. Trying to get more sleep. Ito talagang pinakamahirap. Ito ang pinakamahirap para I see lots of people nodding. Getting enough sleep at the end of the day and not engaging in revenge procrastination. I've worked so hard. I deserve 12 episodes of my favorite Netflix. That's very difficult. But yeah, finding personal joy is really important. So hindi lang flippant yung pagsabi kong pagdadala. So and then knowing that there's an exit at the end of the tunnel. Na may exit strategy ka na hindi to forever. I think that helps.
Yeah, I think there's one last question from
Ang haba, ano to?
online. So, hello Dean Diego and to everyone here online and on ground.
Okay.
Good morning.
Okay.
This is coming from the student rep.
Okay.
First, I would like to congratulate you on a fruitful and impactful term, particularly your efforts in advancing UPOU and fostering stronger connections for both the students and faculty within the UP community and the broader international education world. I would like to acknowledge the rise in student engagement and leadership during your tenure, including the foundation of our key student institutions, which are the University Student Council and our official student publication, the Corsor. I would just like to ask, how did you support these developments and the calls for greater student representation during your term? Additionally, what would you advise the next dean to prioritize in continuing to empower and amplify student voices in shaping UPOU's future?
Thank you very much. That's a very important question. So I wanted to note that in the past 3 years, and especially nung na-establish yung mga student orgs, something like 3 organizations have advisors that are from FICS. So si Shari is the advisor si Shari is the advisor of Siesta ba? Siesta. Si Roda is the advisor of Cursor or Culto. Culto and Cursor. And then am I missing other student organizations? So Yeah. All right. So, so I think yung advising that we can provide, that we volunteer really to, because advising is not recognized through academic load credits, right? This is something now we can actively take on. So I think yung student orgs, are important in that way. I think there's more opportunities for. It's tricky kasi on the one hand we are trying to align yung curriculum tsaka curriculum standards natin and teaching and learning with we're trying to meet certain expectations for quality, but it would be interesting to see parang to what extent we can further yung co-creation of curricula with students. I'll give you an example. So for one course that I did, yung special topics called Wearable Futures, which was a combination of futures thinking and wearable technology design, I had one of our senior students, si Lucky Vengua, co-create the course with me and co-facilitate the course with me, and yun yung ginamit niyang final project niya. So senior students might have a role in either teaching a course or advising a course or facilitating a course. So I think there's something to be explored in that area. Maybe. Hindi ko alam kung ano yung mga complexities exactly nito. As I mentioned earlier, I've invited si Isaiah Crisanto, the FICS representative of the UPOU alumni chapter, UPOU Alumni Association, to engage on a more regular basis, precisely to understand how students can engage with us better. I think maybe it's worth coordinating and more closely with the Office of Student Affairs to ask them and the USC, parang, okay, do you have any specific suggestions on where do you, baka we're not seeing areas of potential collaboration. So we do, we are open to that kind of input, for sure.
Okay, we have one comment from Lilian Marfil. Padayon Dinjigo, welcome to the UP system and UPD. Your new ISC role brings you closer to our data science for public policy working group. Data science work is our niche in national development. Mabuhay po kayo sa napaka-makataong vision niyo po.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is regarding yung other hat that I wear, which is sa ISC. But noted po, and we look forward to engaging with the public policy working group as well. Data Science for Public Policy Working Group.
Okay. Wala na. So that will be the last.
Okay. Privilege, honor, and a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very, very much, Dean. Okay, so before we end today's event, we would like to encourage everyone again to actively participate in the other steps of the search. Again, we extended the call for nomination. We're hoping that more nominations would come until January 29 at 11:59 p.m. Okay? January 29 po, Chansey, hanggang 11:59 p.m. Okay? Then we're going to have the presentation of the mission vision of the nominees on February 4. Okay, 10 to 12, same venue and also via Zoom. Then on February 5, we're going to have the sectoral consultations from 9 to 11 for the faculty, 11 to 12:30 for the reps and admin, 1 to 2:30 would be for the student consultation, and 2:30 to 4 would be for the alumni and other sectors. Then 4 to 5:30 would be the interview for the different nominees. Okay, so we're hoping that on or before January 29, we would still receive another nominee. Okay, so again, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much for our participants joining us online, and we're hoping to see you. By the way, this afternoon, for the public forum, presentation of the accomplishment of the incumbent dean of the Faculty of Management and Development Studies. Okay, that would be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 1:30. Okay, 1:30 in the afternoon, same venue. Okay, so again, thank you very much and have a good day.